welcome to the Elimination Chamber review, baby. Okay, what do we get in this Elimination Chamber? I believe I said in my prediction I wasn't too interested in the Elimination Chamber completely. There were several matches I was interested in, but I wasn't 100% enthusiastic. Now, when we open with the kickoff, as I said in my prediction, either two things may happen. One, Cody was going to turn on his brother, or two, we're just going to have a standard ordinary match where I believe I said that Goldust and Cody may win. I could be wrong. You can check my prediction. But we had a good match between them and Ryback and Curtis Axel. It wasn't a great one. I'm not even going to say it was great. It was okay. And in the end, we get a Goldust and Cody Rhodes win. But what does this really mean? Of course, now the New Age Outlaws are going to have the Rhodes brothers to deal with. But is that a great thing, actually? I don't think so, because really it's time for them to break apart. It was great in the beginning, and I was hoping Cody would work with his brother. I said it, and I am happy to a point that he did work with his brother. It's not like they ever worked together before. But Cody really needed his brother to get him over. And instead, the crowd really wanted to get Goldust over. So Cody actually took 2 steps back instead of taking a step forward. That's just my perspective of it. Now, the opening of the show. The minute the opening of the show came up, I knew it was going to be IC Championship, and it was. I really didn't have any interest in this match. I didn't. I'm sorry. I just didn't care about Biggie Langston facing Jack Swagger. I would have liked Mark Henry to face him, but he was on commentary with The Miz and Rey Mysterio. Now I'm going to get to the commentary and stuff that went out for the night. But when I saw this match, was it an interesting match? Not really. Was I fond of the match? Not really. I wasn't interested in the guy who was participating with Biggie Langston. Some of it wasn't that good because Jack looked like he was tanking pretty badly. Biggie still looks a little green. And I'm not against Biggie. I love Biggie Langston. I'm glad he's there with the IC Championship. But I do see that he's still a bit green. And it just isn't enough. He needs more better competition. Competition that's more seasoned, that can actually hide, like Paul Heyman always says, accentuate the positives, hide the negatives. But I saw way too many negatives for Biggie Langston. He really doesn't have someone great to work with. He just doesn't. Now, he did win the match. But what does this mean for him? Like I said, WrestleMania would have been great to have headlining of 2 matches. The WWE World Heavyweight Champion and the IC Championship. Why couldn't they have been... WWE, why did you fucking have the intelligence to see you could have kept the concept of 2 titles being contested at WrestleMania instead of 1? Stupid dicks. Now, moving on to the match, I really thought that should have been well better promoted. The primetime players. Now, I'm sure many people are going to say, dude, the primetime players are not that great. People like them. But why would we care about it being more better promoted? Well, see it like this, ladies and gentlemen. You need more than just the headliners. You need more than Elimination Chamber. You gotta have more. You gotta have meat on this pay-per-view. And when I look at Titus O'Neil and Darren Young, it's not the point they're the biggest stars there. They're not. But they've been together for a while. And people do like them, particularly when it goes millions of dollars. I can't do that. Ow. I can't do the dance. My leg cannot handle that. But, oh. Ooh, that hurt. But you get my point. They're enough of a charismatic team that people like them. They wanted them to go from heels to faces, which they did. Now, you breaking Darren Young against Titus O'Neil, they could have promoted it better than just putting it on SmackDown. You could have put it on Raw. Then you could have put a little more snippet on SmackDown. Then you could have put a little snippet on Superstars, even on Wednesday Night Main Event. Now, I'm sure people are going to say, well, they did that. No, they didn't. They really didn't do it that well. Where did we get? 1 interview from Titus O'Neil. No real seeing from Darren Young last week. And I know I had a lot on my mind at the time, but I did see that Raw and I did a review on it. And I'm telling you, I just didn't see any interest. A Twitter war is not enough. It's not. You need to see it on television. And they could have made something out of this. They could have made it interesting. They could have built this up into a match of WrestleMania, as little as it is. At least it would have been something to give these guys something to work with in a month. It would have given something different. But they wanted to end it now, which they probably have, unless they're going to try and drag it out, which I hope they don't. The next, last thing about Titus O'Neil. He really needs to work on his character now. He's not in the primetime players. It's cool when he was in the primetime players. You need to step up, Titus. Step that shit up. Because if you don't, you ain't getting nowhere. He's got the size, he's got the voice, he got the charisma. Now he needs a better character. That's just what I'm saying. Now, next match, I really don't understand. AJ versus Cameron. Don't get me wrong. I still care about my Cameron. She was the one I first fell in love with when the Funkadactyls came in, before I realized how wonderful my Trinity was. I don't hate Ariane. I don't. But the problem I see is this, and that still makes me angry, and I probably will be doing a debate of the week on it. Because of what happened with Naomi, because of Oksana getting pissed off that Naomi's big juicy butt was rubbing up against her head, she put her knees into her face. Now, I checked the wiki to see if maybe there might have been something about Oksana getting fined. You guys can tell me below if you know if Oksana got fined for what she did. But as far as I know, she's not getting any fine, which is stupid. This woman did not need to put a knee into... I'm leaving that. But you see my point. This should be Naomi's moment. Hell, I would love to see Naomi come back at WrestleMania and face AJ. That could actually be still a viable possibility. I'm hoping for that. So the match, I didn't expect it to be much until I saw Tamina super kick AJ in the face. Now that makes me think. AJ's gone through everyone in the roster except Naomi by herself at a pay-per-view. At least that's what you think. Because you look at, like I said, Tamina for quite a while. Tamina is one of the few divas next to Cameron, Summer. I don't even need to go through them all. But you get my point. When did Tamina ever win the championship? Really win it at a good pay-per-view? She hasn't. So if Naomi isn't going to be slated for this, Tamina might be. So maybe Tamina will finally get her WrestleMania moment. She's been around for quite a while. As much as my Naomi and Cameron have been. Now the match that I was sad to see. Usos versus the New Age Outlaws. I knew the Usos would probably not win this. I wish for them to win this. I've always said, give these guys the titles at least once. They deserve it for all the service they've done to the WWE. They have been thrown around on every show. And very little have been seen on Raw. They deserve it. The crowd likes them. And hell, Jonathan's wife is currently home after having fucking surgery because of... Oh, calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Look, I would have liked to see the Usos win. They deserved it. It doesn't matter if they're charismatic enough for you. But they have been around long enough that they deserve at least one shot. Hell, come on. Everyone and their mother has gotten that fucking title. So it's their time. I'm just hoping that this Raw, they don't get a rematch and then they finally win it. And that would be the most stupidest fucking thing you would see. They couldn't get their moment on a pay-per-view. But they'll get their moment on a Raw or on a fucking SmackDown. I hope that does not happen a week or two after this pay-per-view because that will be bullshit. Now the match that I believe a lot of people weren't totally fond of. ADR versus Batista. Now of course the crowd was jizzing in their pants for ADR. They were. But if you really look at it like this, I mean, like I said before, Batista said it best. Look, I have no beef with you. I don't understand why you're here. That's what I feel with ADR. They tried to just throw any heel they could think of at Batista so he would have some pops. But the problem is this. Batista left as a heel. He left as a fucking heel. He should have came back as a fucking heel. Because when you see how everyone cared about the match, they cared about ADR more than Batista. Now, of course, this is a Minneapolis crowd. Minneapolis, Minnesota really cared more about heels this time than faces, to a point. But when you really see it, I think Batista should have went up against a face than a heel. He should have been a heel in this entire situation since he came back. I really believe that would have been better for his character. Because by the time it was all over, they were booing the fuck out of him. And they want him as a face. And he's being booed as a heel. WWE better get on the bandwagon and turn him into a heel. Because that is a much better thing to do for him. But you never know. Now, the match, I believe, is the match of the night. The Wyatts versus the Shield. Now, I've said that this match should have happened a couple of months ago. It would have been better, at least a month ago. It should have happened maybe at TLC, maybe at Royal Rumble, maybe. But this conflict between these two teams, these two factions, should have happened at least 2 months ago. That's just me. Of course, tell me below what you believe that this is the right time for them. Yes, the crowd was screaming for both teams. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the thing is that now they're going to have to decide, are they going to let Roman Reigns move on or not? This is what I said in my prediction. This was not about anyone in there except for Roman Reigns. And even though Seth Rollins was well highlighted and Bray Wyatt was well highlighted, and it was only Roman Reigns left of the Shield in the fucking ring, dealing with all of them, giving them the Superman punch. I just love that shit. That's good. But in the end, Roman Reigns was the most highlighted here. He's the one they want to get over. But I really believe the problem now is that they got to separate the Shield. Because now the crowd wants Roman Reigns on his own. But if the WWE does not see this, they could miss their opportunity. It's his time now to start breaking away. If he's got to have a feud with Dean Ambrose and they break the Shield up, fine. But it needs to be done. It really does. It was a great match. I still believe it's a match of the night. It was. You guys tell me below which was the match of the night for you. Now the last match, which we know what it is, the Elimination Chamber. Sheamus and Cesaro starts the match. That is a big spot for him. I knew that Cesaro would give a great showing here. I said it in my video review, my preview, I'm sorry. And you see how well he did. He stayed to be the last of the four. Of course, he got eliminated by Cena, of course, yeah. I didn't expect him to go beyond 3. I didn't. I didn't think he would be the final 3. But I did expect him to be at least one of the final 4. And he more than met my expectations. He is a main eventer. He is the future of the WWE. It is obvious that they need to turn him face. If they got to use Jack Swagger to turn him face, do it, WWE. This was a very good match. The things that are most highlighted for me is seeing Randy Orton lock himself back into Lexan. And look, hearing the crowd call you pussy is not one of the best things, but it's still a reaction. And locking himself in the Lexan cage was smart. Seeing Sheamus kick in that damn cage and hearing the crowd jizz on themselves was epic. I did enjoy it. Christian, I didn't expect to get anywhere with. I did expect him to do a good showing, which he did. But that now means that Christian and Sheamus are going to have a feud now, because they got nothing else for Christian to do and nothing for Sheamus to do. That is what's going to happen. Now the person two people I'm worried about is this. One, what is Cesaro going to do now? Will they actually do as I say? And 2, John Cena is now going to directly deal with the Wyatts. Finally. Do I believe I want to see this? No. This is going to bury the Wyatts, even though Bray Wyatt is very well over. He is well over. But this can bury him. Cena is notorious for burying people. not on purpose, but the people in the back make the decisions that Cena needs a great opponent. Let's make it Bray Wyatt. This is what could happen. Unless, when Taker comes back, he will finally decide to face Cena. I may actually do a debate of the week on that, if it's not about something else. I don't know yet. But how do I believe this pay-per-view was? It was filled with a lot of good matches. And even though some of the matches weren't good, at least they put in a lot of effort. Seeing Mark Henry on the panel didn't make me feel very good, because I'd rather see him with Big and Langston. Seeing The Miz there, of course, I said he was going to be there, and he did. Seeing also that during the kickoff show, seeing the Larry Axe Hennig there was epic. It was good to see him with his grandson. That was actually quite nice. Maybe he could have won that match, but you get my point. So I'll say this was a pretty good show, but I'm not sure what's going to happen soon. So I hope you enjoyed this Zane's view on the Elimination Chamber 2014. Give me a comment below what you believe was your most favorite moment. And I will see you soon.